In this lesson, we're going to finish the low resolution cylinder. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's make sure that we get the interior polygons for this. So let's go ahead and go to border mode, select around that, and we should be able to select these edges. Now, they might already be there, and they actually are, so we should be good here. Now, one thing that I do want to do really quickly is go ahead and select those polygons on the inside of that. They're just a little bit too big for this. And so let's go ahead and select around that. So select one, hold shift, select the next one. Hit F3 so you can see that it's selecting all those polygons on the inside. And then we're going to go to modify selection and select similar. It should select all those polygons there. And then I want to scale them in a little bit. So let's grab our scale tool and scale in the all three directions just for right now. But before we do that, let's switch over to our local coordinate system. Now scale in all three directions, and let's try to get those to where it touches the inside surface there, and at least gets really close there. That looks pretty good. Let me go back just a bit there. And now let's go ahead and turn off local, and let's go to view and just scale along the Y. And that should push those back out. Okay. Now at this point, because we have those, we've kind of modified that surface there. So go to your left view, go to vertex mode, and if you want, hit F3 and select all those vertices on the back side. And you'll want to make sure that those are aligned in the Z direction. And same thing on this one, make sure that's aligned in the Z direction. Okay, so that way we get a nice flat surface along the back. All right, great. So now we have that. Let's go ahead and get the polygons we need for these surfaces. So let's go ahead and do the ratchet along the back side. So go to polygon mode, select these polygons back here. And I'm going to hit Z so I can see that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to inset this. So inset that, and let's pull that down. Now you'll notice that we get this little star shape here, and it's not exactly matching my shape any longer. And so what I need to do is I need to straighten that out a little bit. So let's go to our front view, hitting F on the keyboard, and then let's hit F3 and go to vertex mode. I'm going to select these vertices right here in the center, okay, of those edges there. And then we're going to scale those on the X and Z, and we're going to get that straightened up there. So put it right on the edge there. Now let's take those same polygons and let's extrude that out. So extrude, and we want to extrude that in a positive direction. And I'm going to extrude it out to where I can't see that ratcheting information any longer. Okay, so those little flares there. Now I don't really care about this little piece here, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make that part of the spindle. That's just going to make a little bit easier on the polygon count. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to take every other edge here and just simply push that back. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to cover up close to the surface there, but then we want to take these edges and we want to bring those back up. We're not adding any extra geometry to those. Okay, we just want to make sure that everything's covered up, and it's going to create just kind of this odd little shape. And the normal map is going to take care of all that information for us. Okay. All right, so with that, you know, this part really isn't that important. You know, and actually I'm looking at this, and I think I may just go ahead and keep that flat. Let's not push that down. Let's just keep that flat, and we'll just bake in that information on that. Okay, it's hardly ever going to be seen. It's going to be covered up most of the time. The only time that it might be seen is if we reload. If it's a first-person game, you might add a little bit more resolution to that, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, now let's do the spindle on the front end. We could make this all one piece, but it might be a little bit easier to go ahead and just make it a separate piece. Actually, you know, I've got the geometry there. Let's just do it. Let's make it one solid piece. Let's go ahead and grab this vertex here. And let's hold down Control, go to Polygon Mode. That should select all of those. Let's inset this one more time. And let me pull that up. And with that polygon selected there, let's go ahead and delete it. And let's go to Border Mode, hitting 3 on the keyboard. And let's take that border and cap it. Go to Polygon Mode, select that polygon, and go to Polygons Geopoly. And that'll make that cylindrical. And then you can just grab your scale tool and you can scale that in the X and Z and get that down to the right size. Then extrude it, hit OK on that. There we go. And then we'll move that back just a bit, right about here. And then I'm going to extrude it one more time. And then I'll just move that back to the edge, right about here or so. And then we're going to scale that down. Okay. Don't need a lot of geometry there. And then let's go ahead and take all this geometry here. Let's connect it. Let's go ahead and turn off isolation mode there. And then go to vertex mode and let's cut across the center here to there. And then I'm just going to come in, select these, and then just connect and make all these triangles on the end. Okay, and then we'll take that center point and we'll pull that out. Okay, so just pull that out until it covers up the edge there. There we go. So there's that. We'll do the same thing on the front side here. So go to Polygon Mode, or actually Vertex Mode. Select that vertex in the center, hold Control, go to Polygon, and then we're going to inset that. And let's inset it to the outside edge of our spindle, the large section there. We'll do something like that, hit OK, and then delete. Go to Border Mode, select that border, and we're going to cap that. Polygon Mode, select that polygon, and then go to Polygons Geopoly. That should round that out. Then go ahead and scale that up to the right size there. Looks good. And then we're going to extrude that. Hit OK, grab your Move tool, and move that out there to right about here or so, and then we'll inset. And I'm going to take that inset amount down to the next step in that cylinder. Then we'll extrude again, and then we'll go ahead and extrude. Actually, we need to inset first. Inset, and then we'll extrude, hit OK, and then we'll just pull that polygon all the way out to the end here, just like so. And I'm going to pull this out to right about here, and then I'm going to inset that. Let's hit F3 really quickly. Let's inset that to where it's like really close to being closed. So just like that, and then hit OK. And then hold down Control, convert it to a vertex selection, and then weld that to a single point. And then we're just going to take that point and pull that out. Do something just like that. All right, so there we go. We have our cylinder. We have the low poly resolution on that. Next thing that you may want to do, you might want to take a look and see if there's anything that you can optimize. This is pretty well built. The only loop that really isn't doing anything is this one here, so hit Control Backspace on that. We could go ahead and convert all these down to triangles. We could weld all of that, but it's really not going to save us that much time. So let's just keep it clean the way it is, and there we go. So there's our cylinder. Let's change the name of it. So we're going to say LP_cylinder. Hit Enter, and then we'll change its color and give it that gray material. Okay, here we go. And then if we turn off edge mode, we go back to 0 on frame 0. Looks like, oh, we forgot to give it its position there. So let's go ahead and go to frame 1, and actually let's do this. At frame 0, Let's go ahead and change its position in the X2 0. And then we'll go to frame 1, turn on auto key, and I'm going to align it to the high poly mesh. Just make sure it's X and Z, hit OK. Turn off auto key, and that'll switch back and forth. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and move on to our final pieces. We're just about finished with the modeling portion of this, so we want to go ahead and get the crane, and then we'll move on to the trigger, the hammer, and then that lock key, or the key lock. So let's move on to the crane next.